What's up, everybody? Welcome back on this beautiful Thursday evening. The football game is on, Jets versus Patriots. And welcome to Sports Talk with Hawk podcast. My name is Hawk, and I am happy to have you in tonight. Welcome in. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for listening. Make sure to subscribe, ring the notification bell, and like the podcast. So, a couple things. Number one, hope you guys like the new graphic art. I actually have somebody that is helping me out with some of the thumbnails for the podcast to be able to um, put a little bit more put a little bit more zing into some of the thumbnails that are used. As you can tell, this episode is Hawks top 10 teams, our first top 10 of the season. Don't like doing one after just 1 week. And honestly, these for the first, probably until we get to week 5, really are just going to be up and down. There's not going to be any specific order to any of them necessarily. Um, but love the graphics. Draven is helping me out with the graphics. He is a graphics designer. Does a lot of work. Has been in my esports organization for a while. He is part of my graphics server that I own and does fantastic work. And I appreciate him being willing to help me out. If you guys need any wallpapers for your computer, your phone, profile pictures, whatever it may be. He has a wide variety of skill and he has a wide variety of types of graphics that he can do. He has never failed me. He's done some that are actually motion. And I love all the work that he's done. Super excited to have him helping me with that aspect, to be able to kind of just just kind of prep up the thumbnail side of things, and can't wait to see what else he comes up with through the rest of the season. All right, Hawks top 10 teams. So here's the basis for the Hawks top 10. This is not a Hawks top 10 according to the standings as they are right now. Standings don't have anything to do with Hawks top 10. Not at all. My top 10 are the top 10 best teams, regardless of record. Regardless. I will give you 3 teams you will not see in the top 10. Spoiler alert. 3 teams that are 2-0 that you will not see in the top 10. Number 1, the Pittsburgh Steelers are not in here. And I know Pittsburgh Steeler fans are crying all over the place, shouting out about the disrespect they're getting. No, 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 no. You have one offensive touchdown. One. Give me a break. You're not a top 10 team. Anybody who can score is going to outscore you right now. There is no question whatsoever about whether or not you're going to get outdone. Sorry. There really isn't. Let's just be honest here. So they are not in my top 10. Another 2-0 team that is not in my top 10 currently, the Minnesota Vikings. Now, I'll put them at like 13 or 14. I will put them there. But they shellacked the Giants. Okay. Everybody will at this point. and then had a home date against the 49er team that played Monday Night Football in Cali and had to play a day game in Minnesota. I mean, short rest early in the year, not really going to work out well. Okay? They're not bad. How they play against the Texans this week will determine whether or not they get in the top 10 next week. And then the third 2-0 team that is not in the top 10, Seattle Seahawks. Listen, you beat the Giants, you beat the Broncos, rookie quarterback's first start at home. You beat the Patriots in overtime on the road. I don't have a lot of faith that you're even going to beat every team in your own division right now. Arizona, I think, would sprint up and down the field on Seattle. San Francisco would bully them. So I don't think they're a top 10 team. They're probably right behind Minnesota. But, well, give it another week. I told you they have to avoid an L. They cannot afford to lose to Miami. You lose to Miami, and the narrative around the Seahawks will change in 1 week. You got to beat a Miami Dolphin team with a backup quarterback. Just ask the Indianapolis Colts. You got to beat the backup quarterback, regardless of whether he's got 10 days to prepare. So, spoiler alert, those teams are not in my top 10. So, we're going to start at number 10. And the 10th best team, I believe, in NFL right now is the Green Bay Packers. And I truthfully believe it's because of their head coach. Matt LaFleur is a huge reason they are going to be okay without Jordan Love. Their defense is better than expected. Played a very close game against Philadelphia week 1 in Brazil. It's a neutral turf game. I don't put a lot of stock into London games, even Brazil games. Like, the players weren't looking forward to it. It was bad. We talked about this before that game. It wasn't good. I don't put a lot of stock into non-traditional home away games. But to do what they did to the Colts last week, hold them to 10 points, force those turnovers. They are an opportunistic defense. Now, obviously, if the opportunities never present themselves, they won't have that luxury. But the reality is their offense was dominant. Dominant. And I'm sorry, when you are the number 1 rushing team in the NFL, number 1 rushing team in the NFL, I'll give you a top 10 spot. 212 yards a game average right now for the Green Bay Packers. 212. I'll give you a top 10 spot. You can run the ball, you control the clock, you control the pace, you control the tempo. They looked in control against the Indianapolis Colts. Now, whether that's because the Colts absolutely suck or not, I guess we're going to find out here shortly. But there's the reality. Green Bay Packers at 10. At number 9, I'm going to put a 2-0 team that I'm not quite sure about yet. I want to see it continue. The injuries bother me, and I don't like you letting injuries affect the success of the team, but they got to be taken into account. The Chargers. Oddly enough, the Chargers are the second best rushing team in the NFL. Jim Harbaugh has a plan. Run it down your throat until you choke on it, and then he's going to kill you through the air with Justin Herbert. The problem is Justin Herbert's injury could be an all-season thing. And this team doesn't look the same without Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert is key to this team. The injuries bother me. They've got the best tackles in the game, Rashawn Slater, Joe Alt, number 3 in their position and number 1, fan-freaking-tastic. They deserve a top 10 spot. They are 2-0. Their defense is playing really well. But I have to keep them down here because I have severe questions about the health of their quarterback. Really do. So the Chargers at number 9. At number 8, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. Now 8 and 7 play each other this week. And next week, whoever wins is going to be higher, whoever loses is going to be lower. I said Philadelphia needs a W over the Saints. I fully believe that. Without A.J. Brown, this offense does not have the same dynamic when you can just shut down Smith. Hurts has got to use his legs, find Goddard. Saquon Barkley, listen, I discounted what Saquon was going to bring just because I thought he was going to be injured. I did not believe that Saquon would be healthy for the full season. So far, A.J. Brown is already the one injured, and it's week number 3. He's already been out for a game. And the offense looked different. They have a special offense. It will be very hard to stop. I do not trust the coach. The Eagles didn't lose because of Saquon Barkley. I hate the narrative that Saquon's drop is why they lost. No. It's Sirianni's dumb head that thought that going for it on 4th and 4 inside the red zone with the chip shot field goal was a good idea. I'm sorry. Points still win games. How did the Falcons beat them? Points. That's how. So at 8 right now, I've got the Philadelphia Eagles. At 7, we have the New Orleans Saints. I'm not a full believer yet. I'm not a full believer yet. But here is what I discounted, and I will give credit where credit's due, and I didn't think this was going to matter. Klint Kubiak is the new offensive coordinator in New Orleans. His father is Gary Kubiak. Fantastic offensive mind. Peyton Manning loved him. Houston loved him. Klint Kubiak came from the 49ers' wonderful pen of brilliant minds. That's where he was cutting his teeth, learning game plan, philosophy, schemes. It's amazing how San Francisco or Los Angeles Rams coordinators, assistants, go anywhere else and have success, and all they do is emulate. Let me give you an example. Jim Harbaugh at Michigan brought in Jesse Minter, who was under John Harbaugh, the Baltimore Ravens, who was in their pen, in their fold. Took him from his brother, Jesse Minter then goes to Michigan. Michigan starts playing a defense that is fantastic. Mike McDonald gets hired from Baltimore, goes to Seattle. Seattle is playing the same defense. Now, they're not crisp on it yet, but just wait. It could be, but I got to see more from the offense right now. And then another assistant from the Ravens went to USC and is the defensive coordinator there and has transformed that defense into, honestly, a top 25 defense. It's a scheme. It's an understanding of how football works. That's what San Francisco and Los Angeles Rams have. Clint Kubiak, to his very big credit, has done a masterful job of taking the ball out of Derek Carr's hands, asking him only to throw 18 to 22 times a game, using Kamara having the third best rushing attack in the NFL, and I believe that is a recipe for success. Now, if Philadelphia blows the doors off of them, they're going to drop. If they blow the doors off of Philadelphia, don't look now. The NFC South has a 3-team race for first place. 3-team race for first place. That would be wild. Absolutely wild. So, we're going to hold off on all the hype on the Saints. Give me another week or two. We get into a tough stretch. But we also get into a tough stretch for Philadelphia. And we get into a tough stretch for the number 6 team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I give them the nod over the Saints just because I think their offense, the two receivers, Evans, Godwin, the defense that's a little bit younger. I think the Bucs are a tick, not 2 ticks, 1 tick better than the Saints. And I think the Saints and Bucs potentially could give the Falcons a huge run for their money. Now, the Falcons are not in my top 10. I got to see them play against the Chiefs this week. It's a gauntlet to open, yes. But I got to see them build off of that game against Philly, and then this week push the Chiefs around. And honestly, I need to see their defense do what it did with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts had to move around. Jalen Hurts had to scramble. I need to see their edge rushers attack Kansas City and get Patrick Mahomes uncomfortable. And then not give the game to Kansas City. I need to see it. Now, with Tampa Bay, opening week win over a rookie quarterback, but he ran all over you. Fine. A big win, though, on the road in Detroit. Yeah, I like it. I definitely like it. No qualms about it. I like that. They're good. So the Buccaneers are 6. Now the top 5. 5th is solidly by itself, the San Francisco 49ers. You get one bad game a year. Remember last year how they looked against Cleveland? You get one bad game a year. Your bad game came after a Monday Night Football win and then traveling to Minnesota for a 1 o'clock start. Seattle struggled with New England. Minnesota's definitely better than New England. Okay? You get one bad game a year. It happens. So, San Francisco, the only thing, I've got them lower on the list because of the injuries. Jordan Mason's fine as the running back. Deebo Samuel being injured, though, does concern me. That one does. Because that's a different issue. There's not many players that can fill in for what Debo does. So it's going to be interesting to follow that kind of thread through the year of whether or not Debo can actually get fully healthy or if he's just going to have a nagging injury all year long. But number 5, currently, San Francisco 49ers. Now, number 4, the Detroit Lions. Like I said, you get one bad game a year. And thinking about this, I almost took them out. Because the Rams should not have been as close as they were. And then in week number 2, Goff once again kind of showed his hand that you don't want him being the main guy, the main focus. They win over the Rams because in overtime they legitimately put the ball on the ground and only the ground, and the Rams were tired. Week number 2, the few times you threw it through the air, Jared Goff had 2 picks. Amon-Ra St. Brown hasn't gotten going. Yeah, it don't look great. It don't look great. The Lions at number 4, they got to bounce back. They got to get a W this week. They got to dominate. They need to show they can dominate. Because, I mean, there's teams that are going to be vying. If the Rams aren't what the Rams are, or if the Rams aren't what everybody thought they could be because of injuries, I mean, they're decimated. They're home against the 49ers this week. The 49ers could be out of the top 10 next week if they lose to the Rams, who have nobody left. Just decimated. Then you're going to be wondering, well, what's happening with the 49ers? The Rams are already down. It opens up the top spot. These teams early on, these games early on are mattering because they're playing teams that you're going to be fighting with. New Orleans plays Philly. Tampa Bay plays Philly. Obviously, you got the interdivision games. Tampa Bay plays Atlanta. They play New Orleans. These guys are playing each other. It's going to matter. But the Lions have got to separate themselves early. They need to get to 8-1. 8-2, something like that. They've got to go 8-1, 8-2 in the first 10. They have to impose their will and take that top spot. It's up for grabs. You got to take it. Okay, the top 3. All AFC. Number 3, by 2 ticks below number 1, Buffalo Bills. Now, why do I put them 2 ticks below? Their defense still slightly concerns me. Yes, I know what they did to Tua. I get it. They didn't look great against Kyler. We'll see week 3. They got Trevor Lawrence this weekend. But my thought is Doug Peterson is not setting that team up to win anyway. I don't like the game plan. I don't like the offensive game plan. You got to let Trevor go. He's been in this league long enough. Give him the freaking wristband and let him go. Time to let him play football. This isn't a rant about the Jaguars, so let's get back on track. Buffalo, I need to see defense. The Bills are good. They've got a running game. They win without controlling the game. That was a huge victory over Miami. I like them. They look very composed right now. But I got to see one or two more games of them dominating for me to really jump on they're ready to be a number one team in the NFL. So they're 2 ticks below number one. Number two, which is 1 tick below number one, Houston Texans. The number 3 defense in the league. Yeah, I know. They played the Colts and the Bears. I get it. The number 2 sacking defense in the league. The number 1 composed team in the league, in my estimation. They're just playing it cool. It doesn't look hard. They're not flipping out. They don't look out of control. Everything looks purposeful. That's how you win football games. It's how you win a lot of football games. It really is. It's how you win a lot of them. I love the Texans. The offense, the defense. This week is a big week. They can't let up. They go on the road. They got to focus. They're in Minnesota. So you got to go to Minnesota and you got to take care of business. Honestly, after this week, it's a very good shot. I mean, depends on what the Colts do. But you've got a 2-game lead over everybody in that division, no matter what the outcome of most of the games are this week. It's big. It's big. You've got to come out strong this week against Minnesota. You've got to show that you belong. You do that, you're all set, and you could take the number 1 spot after this week. Because the number 1 team, and only because they are the defending Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, they are only number 1 because of that. That'll get you number 1 if you stay undefeated for the first 4 weeks. After that, we go off of how your team actually looks. And here's the reality. The Chiefs have a problem at left tackle and right tackle. They've got problems at tackle. Atlanta, with Matthew Judon, should be able to exploit them. I believe they should be able to exploit the tackles this weekend, get pressure. They have the injury to Isaiah Pacheco. Now, I'm a big Carson Steele fan. I loved him at UCLA. I don't know if he fits the Kansas City Chiefs offense. He is much more of a downhill runner. I'm not sure how it's going to work out, but he's going to be given a shot. He will be given a shot. And that's, that's all you can ever ask as a rookie. You got your shot. And Andy Reid has come out and said he needs to take it. It's his shot. He needs to take full advantage of it. And I 100% agree. Kansas City is number 1. They lose to Atlanta. If it's because of the things that I see as glaring issues, they'll be outside the top 5 next week. They will be outside the top 5. Not having 2 tackles. It's hard to win a Super Bowl without 2 tackles. Rashee Rice will eventually be out. Hollywood Brown is not going to play this year. It will be back to Xavier Worthy. It will be down to Xavier Worthy and Travis Kelce in the playoffs. And then hopefully Pacheco. But I think that Pacheco injury could really cause some problems. because he has done a lot for Patrick Mahomes. A lot. So we'll see what happens. All in all, there's my top 10. Bills at 1, Texans at 2, or sorry, Chiefs at 1, Texans at 2, Bills at 3. 4 is the Detroit Lions. 5 is the San Francisco 49ers. 6 is the Buccaneers. 7 is the Saints. 8 is the Eagles. 9 is the Chargers. And 10 is the Green Bay Packers. Sorry, Cowboy fans. What happened to you at home against New Orleans is exactly what I think is going to happen a lot. You've got a big date against the Ravens this week, also in your home. Also in your home. The Ravens outside, I can't put them up there. I know they're 0-2. I can put them around 15. I know the team's not bad, but that offensive line needs to gel. The running game really needs to get going. You lost one game by a toe, and then you just let another team, you just let them back in the game and stop pushing on the gas pedal. I don't understand it when teams do that. I hate it. I don't get it. It happens every time. You can't let up. These are professional athletes. You got to play all the way through. There it is, guys. That's it. Hawks top 10, the first one of the 2024 NFL season. I once again want to give a big shout out to Draven for the graphic, making the graphic for me. He's going to be helping me out with some of the graphics moving forward. Thank you so much, my friend. If you guys need any work done, if you want a special graphic, he has made a couple different things for the guys that I play fantasy football with. If you guys want anything, comment below, and I will absolutely get you in touch, and he will make you something that is absolute fire that you will 100% love. All right, guys, that's it for me. That is it for me. Make sure to subscribe, ring the bell, like the podcast. Have a fantastic rest of the evening. Remember my prediction from last night for the game: Jets 20-17. Jets by a field goal at home against the Patriots. Hopefully it's a good game. I don't know. This is Thursday morning when I'm recording this. Thursday night when you're listening. So we shall see. But I'll talk to you guys tomorrow when we do my picks for week number 3. I'm not feeling good about any of them. Don't feel good about any of them. The week is a really weird week. You got a lot of interesting games with the way the NFL season is that I'm afraid to pick. Gosh darn it. But that'll be tomorrow night. So I will see you guys tomorrow for Sports Talk with Hawk. I'm Hawk, and I'm out.